If you were born in the late 2000s, you probably have a lot of core memories of the internet transition from the 2000s to the 2010s. I've noticed one of these memories is recalled often: online MMOs and chat rooms. We had Movie Star Planet, Animal Jam, Pop Tropica, Toontown, all bangers that have either now been unfortunately shut down or just lost to time. There is one, however, that I never see a single person talk about: Lady Popular. If you're like me and played this every single day in middle school on your Chromebook, you probably just fell to the floor like Jesus himself was resurrected. If you're not a loser like me, then you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. Lady Popular is an online MMO fashion game that was originally released for iOS and Android in 2004 by Bulgarian video game developing/publishing studio XS Software. However, I will be talking about the very specific 2012 web release, Lady Popular Fashion Arena. Now, I wanted to give you guys a development history on this, but I swear to God, I couldn't find a single thing about this game's overall history other than when it came out and its current state. But I will do my best to give you a short rundown of the very little information that I did gather. XS Studios' website has a tab for their story where they say that they began in 2005, and they were doing well but didn't get their first hit until 2009 with a game called Con Wars, a browser-based MMO RPG strategy game. After this, they strayed away from the fantasy style and went straight for a fashion-based casual and girly browser game with some RPG elements. Thus, Lady Popular was born in all its LA-ified glory. The game itself is still regularly updated with its own little season pass feature and a lot of in-game events and purchases, as well as Con Wars. Both games, though, have since transitioned to a more mobile-first development, but the browser versions are still kept up to date. The game itself, in retrospect, is very juvenile. Like, it's understandable why 12-year-old me loved the game so much. It was like a slightly more age-appropriate version of Stargirl or Miss Bimbo. Shout out to anyone who remembers Miss Bimbo, by the way, because Jesus Christ, that game was a fever dream. But, at least in my opinion, the game was more appropriate than the other two. I don't know, you can dress up your character in lingerie, but that's like every other 2000s to 2010s girly fashion game at the time, so I don't really think it counts. After making an account, you're taken through a tutorial where you are taught the base mechanics and currency of the game. You go shopping for clothes, battle in fashion duels against other girls, level up your stats with fashion points, get pets and boyfriends to make yourself more money, and decorate and upgrade your apartment. It's pretty straightforward in its gameplay. You also have 3 different types of currencies: money, emeralds, and diamonds. Money is pretty much for any normal item, diamonds are meant for higher end or VIP items, and emeralds are for the boutique, celebrity items, and special events. Basically, where all the super special clothes that would normally cost real money or are limited time. There's also an entire city your lady can explore with multiple different places. Beauty Salon, which was where the player could change their lady's look and eventually their fiance/husband. The mall, where the player could go shopping for clothes, and the boutique, where the player could unlock old collections and celebrity items. Clubs, which was where players used to find a virtual boyfriend, but is now a social hub/club area for ladies to join others and get exclusive rewards. The furniture shop, where the player can buy furniture and use them for the apartment. The pet shop, where the player can purchase pets and clothes for them. The party center, where the player can organize their engagement and wedding party and invite others to it. The carnival, which is where the player can take part in virtual auctions, win awards from lucky cards, and place for special clothes and furniture from the fashion machine. However, the auction is kinda gone. They kinda got rid of that. The arena, where the player can challenge other ladies in fashion duels and beauty pageants for money and experience. And the last feature I wanted to talk about is actually no longer available, which is jobs. Now, this feature got taken away in an update that is actually not listed on the wiki, so I have no idea when it went away, but back when I used to play, jobs were available, and jobs were how you made money before getting them through fashion battles. The game also allowed you to chat with other players in chat rooms, boards, and profile comments. Overall, it was a pretty decent browser game if you like fashion games. You can dress up your lady in hundreds of different clothing items and accessories, the events are fun enough to participate in, and the game has managed to survive without having any major controversies for over 10 years. As I said, the core gameplay is really simple. Buy clothes from the mall or the boutique, duel other girls, and get money. When you buy clothes, you get fashion points, which you can use to boost your lady's stats. The stats, such as elegance, loyalty, and creativity, all help your lady win fashion duels. The beauty pageants, though, are more like dress up competitions. They have a daily theme in which you are supposed to dress up your lady, and another player will judge between you and another player. Having a high level with your boyfriend also boosts your stats, and playing with your pet gives you a higher loyalty. The carnival used to be a big spot for events and special items, but now it only really has 2 games you can win, and they only really have a small range of rewards nowadays. While compared to the events, they've been stripped from the carnival and are now separate from the city itself entirely. Ladies can also vote and rate each other's profiles and leave comments, which also gives rewards if you get tons of good ratings. I wouldn't say the game was groundbreaking by any means, but as of editing the script, the game actually got an update to include a new feature called Ladygram, which is essentially just Instagram, but in the game. You share your outfits, get likes, comments, and followers, and that's pretty much it. It's pretty bare, especially now in 2026, but it was a really big leader in fashion games at the time, and I think anyone under the age of like 15 would genuinely enjoy it today. The interface and design of the game is very feminine and girly, and it aims to give players that LA and Hollywood model experience in its presentation, focusing on popularity and beauty. Its tutorials are quick and easy to follow. The only real complaint here is that the game is really, really boring in the early levels. I have my own personal gripes about the game, even after all these years. Keep in mind, though, I haven't properly played the game in years until now, so take all of my complaints with a grain of salt. All the footage you see from the game in this video is my footage from my own account in gameplay, which is arguably not a whole lot, but hey, I played it. But a game that survived this long with a decently large player base is bound to get what any browser game targeted at children gets: in-game classism and online bullying. Now, back in the day, I can confidently say there was a really big issues of e-daters, but since of writing the script, I haven't seen a single e-dater or role player, so it seems they've all moved to Roblox. I didn't actually see a whole lot of interaction on there at all. There definitely are still people active and playing, since when I took a break for a couple days, I came back to over 1,500 chat room messages. That was kind of insane. Back when I played, though, kids were ruthless. If you didn't pay for gems or emeralds, you couldn't get the collector items, and if you didn't have the collector items, you were a dirty, stinky homeless person. This led to a lot of bullying towards new or low-level ladies. I vividly remember begging my dad to pay for the in-game currencies just so I could get all the carnival and boutique exclusive clothes, because the other ladies would leave comments on my profile about how I was a noob and a little baby loser bitch because I didn't have the 42 gem ball gown. However, I will say, playing the game as it is now, they've definitely made getting the other currencies way easier. Like, I'm not kidding, I don't think I've ever had over 100 emeralds at any point when I was younger. It doesn't negate the fact that it was an issue on the game back in 2017. Nowadays, though, the game has a much bigger issue. The game itself is dying. That might be a little obvious, but their social media just doesn't pull in a ton of traction. The game has really bare bones features and gameplay, as well as taking away features like jobs. And while the online community is still there, they just aren't nearly as active as they once were. Playing the game for this video, I would regularly check the chat rooms, and while they did have some activity, they were mainly just dead. It was just people saying hi or asking if anyone was on, or people trolling. The player base just slowly fizzled out over time, like all the other browser and mobile MMOs. Is it because of the paid items? The special currencies? The community? I think, personally, that we all just grew up. So, if the original audience this game was made for is no longer interested, what happens now? I don't think games like this are ever going to get as popular as they once were, and I have a lot of feelings on why, but that's a separate video if you guys were interested. Lady Popular has kind of run its course over this past decade, and with games such as Infinity Nikki and Heartopia rapidly gaining popularity, I just don't see the game picking up and going back to the way it once was. However, I do highly encourage anyone who watches this to check it out for a minute. It may not have a lot, but I still found it rather fun to play, like especially when I was bored. If you can get it to work through the Wayback Machine to play in the 2017 build, I highly recommend it, as the overall interface and design of the site was just way more appealing. But I hope you all enjoyed this video and learned something new, and I will see you all another day.